Has a game of truth or dare ever changed your life? Dinner started like every other Thanksgiving. Turkey, mashed potatoes, awkward silences. I mostly picked at my plate and counted the minutes. It was the kind of family dynamic where every bite felt like you were chewing through cement. Then Mike pulled out a stupid little game called Truth BMB from his backpack, all smug like he had something wild up his sleeve. "Let's play. Come on, it'll be fun," he said, already passing the box around. Mom flinched when she saw it, barely noticeable, but I caught it. I thought about calling it out, but didn't. Too tired. After a few rounds, we were laughing at dumb stuff. Aunt Carol admitted she once pretended to be asleep to avoid helping Mom clean after Christmas. Mike said he used to sneak whiskey into his high school locker. I even smiled a little. That game cracked the ice just enough to pretend we were a real family. Then I pulled the card. "What's your biggest regret?" I could have made something up. I could have said not traveling more or not getting my master's. But I looked up and my dad wasn't even listening. Something inside me snapped. Never understanding why my dad's always hated me. It came out calm. Flat even. But my stomach was doing cartwheels. The room froze. Robert scoffed like I had just accused him of murder. "Don't be dramatic," he muttered, waving his hand like he was brushing off a fly. That's when Aunt Carol leaned forward, her wine glass forgotten. "Are you serious right now, Rob?" There was something in her voice, something sharp. I glanced at Mom. She wouldn't meet my eyes. Then I pulled the next card. "What's a secret you've kept from someone in this room?" The card was for Mom. Her lips parted like she was about to say something, but no sound came. Her hands were trembling. Then she just started crying. Not loud, not dramatic, just silent tears running down her cheeks. Robert stood up so fast his wine glass toppled and spilled across the table. "That's enough," he barked. "This game is over." He walked off, muttering to himself. Everyone else sat there like someone had pulled the air out of the room. I followed Mom into the kitchen. She was leaning on the counter, shaking. "What is it?" I asked. She didn't answer, just shook her head like that was all she had left. Back in the living room, I heard Carol's voice, louder now. "She deserves to know the truth after all these years. You owe her that." I walked back in, and everyone shut up like I'd triggered a mute button. Dad wouldn't even look at me. Mike looked weirdly pale. Later that night, I found Carol on the porch, flicking a lighter over and over without lighting a cigarette. I just sat next to her. "She's not telling you because she's scared, but you deserve to know." And then she told me. "Robert wasn't my biological dad. Mom had me with someone else in college. When she met Robert, he said he'd raise me, but only if no one ever told me the truth. He never got over it," Carol said. "You've always reminded him of someone else. That's not your fault." I didn't cry. I just sat there like someone had unplugged me. When I finally talked to Mom, she confirmed everything through sobs. She thought keeping the peace was better than the truth. I didn't go home for a week, just stayed in my apartment, trying to make sense of who I was. A few days later, Carol sent me a photo album. Old pictures of Mom with a guy I didn't recognize but whose face looked eerily like mine. 2 months after that, I met him, David. He didn't know I existed, but he cried when he found out. Said he wanted to be part of my life, whatever that looked like. Me and Robert eventually talked. He apologized. He said he'd always felt like he was living someone else's life when it came to me, that he'd help me find David if I wanted. I told him I already had. That Thanksgiving, I brought David. And Robert. Yeah, it was awkward, but everyone showed up, even Mike.